Okay, so they're saying that this 6 heat pipe single tower heatsink is gonna beat an incredible 8 heat pipe dual tower heatsink. Is that possible? Well, that's what we wanted to discuss here. Welcome to Machines and More. If you're new here, I'm a PC enthusiast and a content creator. One of the areas I often cover is CPU cooling. And if you enjoy objective, scientifically based testing, please make sure you give a like here and are subscribed here. Big thanks. So it's finally here. This is Cooler Master's V8 Ace 3D HP. The V8 GTS was from about 13 years ago. It was this huge triple heatsink cooler that was engine inspired, but also kind of looked a little bit alien-like. The V8 Ace 3D HP has a completely different heatsink design. It is a single tower, which is flanked by 2 fans, and definitely looks a lot more like an engine to me. Now, the heatsink merges 2 of Cooler Master's most advanced heat pipe designs. The dual loop heat pipes are called the superconductive composite heat pipe. Those are the U-shaped ones on the base plate. 4 conventional U-shaped heat pipes on the outside, and then there are 2 3HP heat pipes. These work a little bit differently. For one, they run straight up out of the base plate, and they're designed to pull heat where the U-shaped pipes might miss. They join to the base plate in the T-junction, and because of their shape and length, they have a faster speed of liquid return. The 3DHP heat pipes are the ones in the middle. They're thicker, and they're a U-shaped section that joins to the vertical stick that goes straight up. And that's what's special. It's a hybrid design. Based on Cooler Master's testing, they have told me that one of these is often equivalent to 2 regular U-pipes, and that represents lower costs as well as optimizes the footprint of the cooler for better compatibility. It's really not easy to make an 8 conventional heat pipe single tower as an example. So this allows this cooler in this footprint to perform like a dual tower, with 8 heat pipes. That would be pretty incredible. Heat pipes have to be tuned to different TDP levels, and there is a difference in the base plate convexity as well. So this V8 Ace is going to have a special LGA 1700 1851 Intel version, as well as an AM4 AM5 version. Now, I am testing the AM5 one first, because it's the first one available, and then at a later point in time when it's available, I hope to follow up with the Intel version, which will perform differently. So in the AMD version of the cooler, it does actually include Intel hardware, but it is recommended to use the right cooler for your application. Probably the most striking feature is the V8 engine themed cover. It might actually look like these are heat pipes, but this is just part of the cover. You can take this one off for any reason, just unscrew it. Now, the included fans are special LCP fans for this push and pull application. So you'll notice there is a push fan. I've got that installed on the RAM side, and there's a pull fan that I've got installed at the back side here. So these are specially designed 120 by 30 millimeter fans. So they are thicker than your typical 25 millimeter fan, which I think you'll see that on most air coolers. The push fan is gonna seem more like your standard bladed fan up to 2500 RPM, and the pull fan is different. It's got a ring blade design with 9 blades, and it kind of looks like the G1 Noctua A12 by 25 with the way the blades are swept. And this one only spins up to 2050 RPM max, but despite that difference, they are tuned such that they're moving similar amounts of air, because this is a mandatory push and pull configuration where the fans have to be in sync. Fans right on the track. It's very convenient to install these. One thing I will notice, when I was installing this initially without thinking, I just picked up the cooler from one of these fans, and then the rest of the cooler kind of fell and it got a little bump on the other side of the heat fins. It's no biggie, but I just wanted to note that can happen. So when you unbox and install, just make sure you're holding the main heatsink portion. But other than that, this track system is so convenient for installing the fans. If for some reason you want to swap fans, you can do that really easily. You can just pull the fan off and then remove the track frame from the included fans, and then use fan screws to mount the fan of choice. You don't have to run it in a rear exhaust. If you're, for whatever reason, your case airflow is better suited to rear intake, you can set it up as well. Just make sure you flip the fans around. You could just slot the push fan at the back and slot the pull fan on the inside. They are reversible. Height of this unit overall is 167.5 millimeters. Since these are 120 millimeter fans, you do have a lot more flexibility for the fan that overhangs the RAM kit. On my mini-itx board here, I still had overlap with one DIMM, but you can maintain the height of this 167.5 millimeter cooler even up to 45 millimeter tall RAM, which is quite nice. As a reference point, the Noctua D15G2, which I'm testing against, is 168 millimeters, so roughly the same height, but that's based on and it's contingent on 33 millimeter RAM. So compatibility wise, the V8 Ace is a lot better. For AMD installs, it's quite straightforward. You got standoffs that screw into the stock backplate on your motherboard, and then the bars go over that. You're going to need to apply a bit more pressure to get the heatsink screws to seat into the bars. And I did notice that the threads are very, very fine. So don't be surprised when you have to turn your driver a lot more than you expect because of that. And Cooler Master is including their cryo-fused thermal paste, which is quite nice. So main thing we wanted to find out is how is the thermal performance? Can this catch the D15G2? As mentioned in the intro, I really wanted to test against the best dual tower, which may seem a little bit unfair because the D15G2 has the bigger heatsink, bigger fans, has more heat pipes, more expensive. But Cooler Master flat out told me at Computex the V8 Ace is very competitive against it. So main comparison will be at this noise equal level. I set the V8 Ace to the same noise level for the max speed on the D15G2, and that's not an unreasonable level to expect the Ryzen 9 9950X that I'm testing with to have to run at, and that runs at about 210 watts here. Tested in the NCase M3 right here in a rear exhaust position, and we have a rear 120 millimeter fan which is set at max speed here, and the D15 is installed with the 7 millimeter offset that it's capable of. At this noise normalized level, I saw the D15G2 beat the V8, but it's only by 2 degrees. So the V8 does come very close, but there is still a noticeable gap there. Now the V8 can go faster, a little bit more headroom left. Here it's at max, it's about 1.3 decibels louder than previously. And at the 2500 RPM level for that push fan, you can squeeze out a little bit more performance, although it still didn't pass the D15. So this is, this 9950X is going to be the upper echelon for stock AM5 package power draw. Depending on your CPU, this type of difference may result in roughly 20 to 25 megahertz lower clocks. But for CPUs drawing down less or lower power, you probably will not see a meaningful difference. Now, Cooler Master's reviewer guide had their cybernetics testing that they showed that basically had these two, the D15G2 and this V8 Ace, equivalent when tested with a 7900X. I'm not questioning that. I think it's entirely possible. It's a significantly lower PPT CPU, and what I do know is that the AMD version of the cooler is optimized for a lower TDP than the Intel one. So it is well possible that the sweet spot is at a lower level. For your reference, here is the soundbite for the D15 versus the V8 Ace. So I'm curious whether an offset would help here, or if the heat pipes are already positioned optimally for AM5. I'm guessing they're not, they can't be, because it's also AM4 compatible, but maybe there is a little bit more performance possible with alternate brackets. I'm kind of curious about the possibility, but as much as I like the D15G2, I really have to give this one a clear win in several ways. One, the ease of install and the whole package aesthetics. Not everyone will like the engine themed cover, but it's hard to deny that it looks cleaner and more user-friendly because of that rail design. The footprint and the 120mm fans make it way better for compatibility, especially with RAM. And lastly, the price. The V8 Ace is retailing for $120 US, and the D15G2 is $170 US. So that is a huge difference. Both are going to be competitive against 280mm EIOs, so that you can get this much cooling power in such a svelte and simplistic package. I think you absolutely have to give this one a win unless you really need that highest end performance. And I think this single tower with 220mm fans punches well above its weight, well above what a single tower is capable of. This would pair perfectly with a CPU like a Ryzen 9 9900X level of power draw. It probably is a bit overkill for 9800 or 9850X3D, but that doesn't mean you can't run it with that and just enjoy the noise savings. So there you have it. I'm actually very, very impressed with what Cooler Master cooked up here. This one is really cool. No pun intended, of course. So make sure you check out the links for the cooler, give a like, and subscribe, as I will be doing more V8 tests. Big thanks for watching today.